everybody, welcome back to the Claremont Classic Garage. Today we've got a little lawnmower job to do. This is a 50-inch deck off a big Toro lawn tractor. And as you can see, one of the hangers for the deck is gone, like he doesn't even have the piece. So he brought it over here to see what we could do with it. You can see this one over here has already been busted off and welded back on. So we're going to use this as a model, and we're going to have to fabricate the base piece and the adjuster or the hanger and install them on this side. So let's get started. First thing we need to do is square up this hole so I can lay in a nice piece of, I've got some 2 by 1/8 thick material. So we'll make this hole 2 inches wide and 3 inches long, and I'll cut a piece off and we'll set it down in there and get it welded in. We've got our hole squared up. We've got our piece made. It's a little short, but that's okay. We'll get her welded in good, and then we'll dress down this weld and we'll start building up. Now we have to make this thing. So here's the start of it. A piece of metal I found in the garage. It was kind of bent into a U shape, but it was too wide. So I cut a hunk out of the middle of it and we'll weld it back together, and then it'll be the right size. And then we'll take this little notch, we'll do the final fitting and then weld it onto the deck. Well, that came out pretty good. I'm letting it cool off, and then what we have to do is we have to mark it and take out this notch so it matches that one. Then we have to drill our holes and file them square for the carriage bolts. This hole is there, but it doesn't actually use that hole, so I'm not going to worry about making that long slotted hole. And then I have to make these are for setting, these little notches are for setting your deck height, for adjusting it, and I'll put those in with a file. And while that cools off, we'll start making this piece, this part of me, out of this that I found kicking around here. I don't have any carriage bolts the right size, so I'm not going to bother filing the whole square. I'm just going to put a nut and bolt in there. That'll be fine. It'll get adjusted once and never get adjusted again anyway. Now I'll go ahead and weld it onto the deck. That went on pretty nicely, and I'd say it's pretty solid. Now we have to make this piece, and I don't really have a press brake to bend this. This is all 3/16 plate. So what I did is I've cut halfway through it, and then we'll bend it around with a hammer, and then I'll weld down the corner there to make it strong again. Okay, so we got our bend made, and you can see it fits over there nicely. So now I will weld it, and then we have to put some holes in it. All right, I've got that piece cut out like that piece. Now I just have to get the height of it right and drill the 2 bolt holes and get it bolted on. And then I can call up my neighbor and he can get his lawnmower back. Oh, there we are. It's on, all fixed up, ready to go mow the grass. That's pretty good. Yeah, I'm kind of happy with that. I mean, there's little stuff like this where there was a hole in the original piece of metal. It doesn't really affect anything. It's not worth trying to fix that. But the main thing is the rod can go in here and pick up the deck, and the guy can mow his grass. Alrighty, on the forklift it goes, and I'll bring it back to him. So we've got our old 71 Valiant out of the barn here, and it's cruise night. Oh, COVID is in the rearview mirror. Cruise nights, car shows, everything, all the stuff we like to do is all coming back to life. So I got this out. It's been laid up for a while, so we're just going to give it a fast going over and make sure it's fit for the road. I mean, it's got very low miles on since the car was completely overhauled from front to back. So all I'm going to do is just check all the fluids, check the lights, make sure everything works, check tire pressures, and we'll be good to go. For those of you who aren't too familiar with this car, you can go back, way back in my channel's history And there's a video about it called Project Mordor, Mordor. It's a play. Yeah. 4 doors, Mordors we call them. It's a neat old car. So lights, hazard lights. Oh, there they go. Indicators work. I know the dash instrumentation lighting works because it was in a dark corner in the barn. That one's working. Those guys are working. Oh, I gotta flick the ignition on and we'll see if the reverse lights work. Because these things, these 3 on the tree cars, reverse is kind of like park. Let's see. Yeah, there's our reverse lights. That one's working. That one's working. Yeah, all good. Yep. Yep. Washers? No washers there. It's down there. It's just a rubber bellows you pump with your foot. This thing's old school, baby. The old Leaning Tower of Power. It's only got one belt. It doesn't have power steering or nothing. Well, it looks like it could use a bit of antifreeze. Okay, we'll top that up. I could smell some antifreeze once in a while when I open the hood. I guess I may have to pressure test it. So I'll pour some in there. All right. Got those few things done. Let's take her for a spin up the road, make sure everything's okay. No power steering, no power brakes. This thing got nothing. Oh, we can keep going out this way again. One thing it does have for a little 6-banger, it's got lots of snot. We looked after that when we overhauled the engine. We'll just run her up to the golf course and back. I mean, there we are. It's 60 miles an hour like nothing. It's got a souped up 225, a 323 gear in the back with the sure grip. It goes okay for what it is, you know, a little 6-cylinder jalopy. The brakes and all that are good too. It's got big disc brakes on it. Down the road good. And unlike the original transmission that was in this thing when I got it, this one's all synchronized. Makes it a lot easier to pull it down into low gear just as you're coming to a stop. But you still should stop before you put it in reverse, I guess. Okay, she's ready to go to cruise night. Time for a little field service. I was out mowing and the lawnmower just quit. So A little diagnosing, and it is the fuel pump that's gone bad. Originally, this had a push rod driven mechanical fuel pump. It went, 3 or 4 years ago, and it was hundreds of dollars for a new one. So I just put this little electric one on, which has worked fine until this moment. So it was easy to diagnose. I made sure there was power going to it. I made sure it was getting a ground. I even hooked it up direct to the battery with a jumper wire, and there was no response from it. I tapped it a few times and I couldn't get it going. So we're going to swap it out. Lucky I found another one in the garage, so we'll throw this one on there and we should be good to go. Now I can put it back on. I wish I would have had just a plain 1/8 street elbow for the bottom of it, but I didn't. So at least I had that T. That'll do the job. Now we can pop this back together. And this grass is growing so fast. By the time I get this thing running again, I'll probably have to cut over there again. Oh man, what a spring. It's been a good year for grass. There we are. I bought this fuel pump at the auction for just a couple of bucks. I did test it when I got it home, and it was whirring away. So let's see. If I put the ignition on, we should hear it operating. Yep, good. What I'll do now is I'll put the ignition on, and I've opened the fuel path, so we should hear this thing start doing some work. All right, let's see if we can crank it up. Ta-da! Seems good. Now that's what it was doing before with that surge. I'm not sure I like that. Let me switch tanks. No, I don't like that at all. Well, it all seems good. I got that all finished up. It's got lots of power. It's mowing nice, so I guess we're okay. Continuing our odd jobs, we have started working away. Oh, there's a chipmunk. Hello. We've started picking away at all this pile of wood from the old willow tree that the hydro people cut down the other week. This pile used to be from the garage right out to here like this. So we've come a long way, and willow is not the easiest stuff to burn, especially when it's soggy and rotten. So I was just mixing in some good firewood with it, and it kind of all goes together. So we're pretty happy that we're getting that cleaned up. Well, that'll do it for this month's edition of Odd Jobs and Small Projects. Hope you enjoyed it. We got mixed up with all kinds of interesting stuff. We'll see if we can outdo ourselves next month or next time. I don't always do one a month. Sometimes, you know, it's 2 months. Anyway, thanks for tuning in. I hope to see you again on the Claremont Classic Garage. And until then, this is Kevin checking out. So long for now.